I smoke.
Two, three. Check, check. Check. Podium mic, 1, 2.
Hello, oops. Everybody, we're gonna be starting shortly in a couple of minutes. Maybe take your drink and take a seat. Thank you. Hello. Good evening and welcome. My name is Daniela Sedola. I'm partner at PwC, representing a group of European innovators in deep tech and clean tech. It's our huge pleasure to welcome you today to the European Innovation Spotlight event. So we are bringing together a delegation of 15 European innovators. These companies are financed, they are invested by the European Innovation Council. They have other investors as well. They have innovative technology in clean tech, materials, technology for data, new energy sources, new fuels, a number of things that you're going to have the opportunity to check out during our pitching session. So we welcome everybody, all the investors here, the whole ecosystem in Houston. So thank you for your presence. So we're going to have an evening where we're going to hear about the European Innovation Council, who is the sponsor of this program. We're going to have a panel as well that I'll tell you about a little bit later. And we're going to have a pitching session for our 15 companies participating in the program. So without further ado from my side, I would like to introduce you to François Brizard. He is the representative of the European Innovation Council to the US. And François, thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Do you hear me well? Yes. So good afternoon. Thanks a lot, Daniela, for the introduction. So indeed, I'm François Brizard, representing the European Innovation Council in the US. We will take a few seconds just to put the right set of slides, because I see that it's not exactly the right one, but allow me to thank also our hosts and partners in the ION, in the Greentown Labs, because of course, without the support of the local partners, this is not the kind of event and the kind of gathering that we can organize. So we are very happy to have you today, which is representing part of the ecosystem that we came here to meet. So I'm also looking forward to the discussion, the panel, and the pitching session with the companies that will give you a bit more than my introductory remarks and there are some slides that will come. And also, of course, to meet and discuss with you after all during the networking part of the event. I guess slowly but surely we will have the right slides, but allow me in any case to pitch you a little bit about the EIC, European Innovation Council. This is a program that was born about 7-8 years ago. The idea was to continue in Europe to invest where we have strengths, which was continue to invest massively, if I may say, in the capacity to generate knowledge, and very good knowledge, very high. Sorry for that. It will come slowly but surely, to continue to invest into what makes Europe strengths, which is the academia part and the capacity to generate, again, knowledge that at the end could be relevant innovation in the field. But it was also to make a program that will be for once, also giving a strong signal to the market, a strong signal to the VC community, to the founders, to the investors, to all the ecosystem partners that first they have to work together, and they have to work together to accompany the next generation of innovators. And so the EIC is born 7-8 years ago with this ambition to continue to invest in research and to have a new cohort of deep tech companies within the same shop, a one-stop shop, with a 10 billion euros program covering 21-27. So we are at the end now of the programmatic period, but for the next programmatic period, the European Union made the proposal that EIC should be operating with 30 billion. It's trying to stay alive. So 30 billion euros still to continue to invest in deep tech. So it was an ambition, it was ideas to be bold, to have the community with us and to attract to us the best innovators. You will see a bit later in the event 14 of those companies pitching to you. But today we have a portfolio of companies which is close to 700 companies, which make us the biggest early stage deep tech fund in Europe. Because we are investing in research, but we have also incorporated a fund which is operating in the market as a venture capitalist in the market. What I would like to highlight here is that as public entity, we have not invested in those companies. We are not investing in those companies in a crowded out approach, but really in a crowding in approach. The idea is to make sure that the companies will find additional investors. And so we are very happy that from this ambition, we can today testify that from €1 we have invested into companies, we have raised more than $3 from private capital. So we are reaching our target. As public entity, it's not that we have to stay forever in those companies, and it's not that we have again to substitute to what the ecosystem in the field should do, but again to give the appropriate signal and to make sure that this program is managed in the way that again the private sector will be around the table. What I would like to insist on is also the fact that EIC is not only about money. It's also about the services and the capacity to work with all the actors of the ecosystems in Europe, but also outside Europe. And this is the reason why we are also in the US. So the European Innovation Council is also a bunch of services that we call business acceleration services, which is giving opportunities of coaching, mentoring to the companies, which is giving to the companies the capacity to access foreign markets. And the way we do it, it is as we do it this week, so an immersive week, where we come with partners in Texas for 1 week to meet you and to learn from you, but also to tell you who we are and how we can work together. It is also the participation to international fairs. So we are going to CES at Vegas, we are going to Bio in Boston, or next year in San Diego, if I'm not mistaken. A couple of others, I will not mention all of them. So it is services that is helping the companies, helping our innovators to get very close to the ecosystems. For the next slides, please. What I would like also to tell you is that for us in Europe, it's just the beginning of the journey. Something that it is in the making and that has been announced, but that will be developed further in the very coming weeks, in the very coming months, is the incorporation of a Scale Up Europe fund. So investing or co-investing with us is not a one-off. It's not just to accompany a couple of early stage companies. It's also to be part of a more global journey that will be also accompanying the growth capital of the most promising companies in Europe. And you have this Scale Up Europe fund that will be built as a private-public partnership, but not only with public money, also with private money, and that we hope to be closing in the very coming weeks with about 5 billion raised to start with. The ambition is for 2028 to have a 25 billion fund to invest in strategic domain, to invest on the growth stage. So if the EIC is to date investing as an average up to 15-20 millions to the companies, with this fund we have the ambition to start the tickets on our side with 100 million. So Europe is on the move, and Europe doesn't want to move alone. Europe wants to build partnership. Europe is open to partnership. Europe is ready to invest the best solutions worldwide, where the solutions that Europe is bringing to you make your business more resilient, make your business more impactful too. So that's also the key messages we wanted to convey. I will at this stage leave it there. I don't want to be too long on what the EIC is about, and I think that our best ambassadors are our companies that will tell you who they are, and I will be pitching a bit later on. I would like also to thank the Rice University. We had a very good session earlier in the afternoon, and which is just for us the demonstration that we must nurture the link between academia and everything which is developed in the university and also in the, of course, innovation ecosystem in the market. So I will be available, of course, all the afternoon and in the evening for further discussions. I thank you for being there today. Thanks a lot. And and I have the pleasure to invite Georgie, that is very well known in this town as CEO of Greentown Labs. Thanks a lot.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening. I'm not sure what time it is. I'm not sure what time zone I'm in. But really great to welcome our friends from the EIC here, to the ION, to Greentown, to Houston, to everybody here. It was such a wonderful opportunity to meet you all last night and get to know a little bit about your work and the impact that you're having in this sector. And we're so pleased that you're choosing this ecosystem, Houston, the ION, Greentown, Rice, as your platform and your portal into the United States. Please feel very welcome, and you're surrounded by people who really do want to invest in your success. We have a shared purpose to make the world a better place, and so feel very welcome, and please reach out to any of us in ways that we can be helpful. You are joining a community of over 600 entrepreneurs in the climate and energy space through the Greentown platform. We like to call ourselves and celebrate the fact that we're the world's largest energy and climate incubator. And usually what we'll say then is we have 150,000 square feet of innovation space in Boston and in Houston. We have 75 of the who's who of energy in our network and thousands of community members. But what that really means to you, and as we welcome folks in from Europe into our community, what we're turning into really is a platform, a global platform that we can all leverage to work better together to drive the change we know is possible. So thank you for being part of that community and for joining us on this ambitious mission. With that, welcome to the event. Welcome to Greentown. Thank you for being here. And I know that we've got some exciting, an exciting panel and some exciting presentations today. And we're eager to learn more about who you are and what you do, so we can find ways to be helpful. So thank you all. Take a selfie, guys? Perfect social media opportunity to show the world that we're all here.
Okay, great. So we're going to move now to our panel session, which will be moderated by Adrian Trommel. He's the Chief Innovation Officer and Vice President for Innovation at the interim for Rice University. Welcome, Adrian. The panel will be about catalyzing partnerships, fueling climate tech innovation from Europe to Texas. So Adrian, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniela. So bonsoir, buonasera, good evening, and howdy, y'all. You've heard me, some of you have heard me say that before. But technology knows no borders. We're here in the capital of the energy transition here in the United States, here in Houston, Texas. So As Georgie said, welcome to our friends from across the Atlantic puddle. So let's give them a round of applause. So technology sees no borders, and often nor does innovation, right? Climate is a global challenge. Today, we're going to see 14 technologies born in the EU, but entering the US market, solving this and working on solving this global problem, really leading at the leading edge of technology, growing and coming across the Atlantic to pitch their technologies to you tonight. So on this panel tonight, who I'm about to invite up, we've got representatives from globally recognized climate tech ecosystem builder, Greentown Labs. We've got institutional as well as corporate investors, and a representative from one of those European startups who already has experience on both sides of the Atlantic. So with that, I would like to welcome, in order, Lawson, head of Houston for Greentown Labs. Neil Dykman, managing partner in Energy Transition Ventures. We've got Mia Barrows, head of strategy at Catalyx. Where did she go? Here you go. And then last but not least, Rens Valk Dankjewel from Shell Ventures. So with that, let's start it easy. We're talking about crossing the Atlantic. So I'll start off with the investors. As US-based investors, you have invested on both sides of the Atlantic. You've partnered globally. You actually, funnily enough, both of them have experience at Shell, and one of them's still there. But for both of you, how do you think about the companies and technologies you've encountered? What differences have you seen? And then a follow-on question to that is, for European companies looking to enter the US, what are the things that they need to watch out for as they enter the US market? And Rens, I'll start with you because you're unfortunately sitting closest to me.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a great question. Lot to unpack there. So we at Shell, as you can imagine, have invested in both. Being from Europe, have sit on the board of both. I think differences are in what you would expect, right? I think the US is a larger ecosystem, specifically for venture. The market dynamics here are different. So we've seen a lot of companies that have started in Europe, built their business out in the US with maybe easier regulation, more access to talent, sort of quicker ways to scale, more access to capital, but maybe have found more friendly regulations in Europe for their businesses to be deployed, where the cost curve comes down, and then later on they move back to the US. So I think we've seen it being sort of symbiotic in some cases, and in other cases we've seen regional winners where the market differences are such that the European companies stay in Europe or parts of it, and the United States companies stay here. So I think it really depends on what industry you're in, what type of business you're in, on whether sort of the cross the Atlantic makes sense for you and your early business.
Neil, same question to you. As you've looked at these companies on both sides and thought about business on both sides of the Atlantic, what differences have you seen? And then for our companies tonight, any recommendations?
Well, look, my partner is somewhere between Amsterdam and Zurich right now. I'm not quite sure which, because I get time zones confused. Yeah, I sent him over there to go get us money. The reason I sent him over there to do that, of our first 7 companies in this portfolio, all North American, all US companies, except for one little Australian company that happened to re-domicile into Austin. Over half of them, their first customer was in Europe. And all right, well, we didn't plan on that, but the energy is global, right? Yeah, and if you live around Houston enough, what you realize is that nobody's from here, and the people that are from here were expat in 14 countries and just happened to be back here because they wanted their kid to go to high school in Houston for some reason, right? And so, but energy tech's the same way. And what we tell our startups is you need to build your company and build your product in the place that it wants to be built. And then you need to find the one place in the world where it will win right now, where the customer will pay you right now way too much money for that product because they're desperate. And if that place is in Texas, fine. If you live in Wyoming and that place is Wyoming, fine. If that place is Amsterdam, fine. I don't care. I care that you extract value out of a customer, make them happy, and make me rich. And if that means you need to get on a plane and build your business in Europe, then go get on a plane and build your business in Europe, or vice versa. So I don't think the right question is, should you be bringing your startup from Europe to here? Yeah, the right question is, where does the customer want your product so badly that they will pay you for it right now and you can get a PO out of them? And then you'll find investors will give you money.
So Mia, that's actually a great segue to you. From your and your team's personal and professional experiences on both sides of the Atlantic, why are you now looking at Catalyx and coming into the US, actually already with activities in the US?
Sure. Well, I would say that for us, Europe has been really a wonderful launching pad. And that's for a couple of reasons. And then I'll come to the US because I think, both markets have a lot of pros and cons and we couldn't get into them in 2 to 3 minutes. But for our particular journey, Europe has really been a great place to start. 2 things that I'll highlight, although again, there's many. One is that there's great talent in Europe, and at least in where we are in Spain, but in a number of countries, the cost of doing business from a people perspective is actually lower. Not only employees, true, although Renz and I were talking about the challenges of the labor market in Europe, it's a lot more sort of constrained, and once you hire someone, you have them for a while. But also, knowledge consultants, lawyers, things like that. We have found that we've been able to get really great employees and advice in Spain and other places in Europe at rates that we just couldn't get it in the US. It would be very difficult for us. Another thing that I would highlight is the support for climate tech and deep tech innovation in Europe dwarfs that of the US, regardless of administration. And it's really incredible. The EIB and the EIC have supported us both financially and as we just heard, it's not just money, it's in a lot of different ways. We're here today. And for a deep tech company, a climate tech company that's trying to kind of get over what, the valley of death, so to speak, that's a big deal, that validation. So Europe has been a great launching pad. The US also has an awful lot to offer. Of course, there's so many customers here. The culture is very entrepreneurial. I think it's built into, for those of you that aren't from the US, I would really argue that it's built into almost our national culture, right? We're pro-business, we're pro-entrepreneurship. And you see that play out in our laws. You see that play out at the Texas level, at the Greater Houston Partnership was here. You see that in lots of different ways. But another thing that Renz referenced is the venture capital community here is so robust. It's so big. And when you're trying to commercialize a chemical product, a deep tech product, you need a lot of money. The rounds in Europe are not typically at the size that we would need. And so those are just a couple of reasons why we're excited to make the move to the US.
Thank you for that, Mia.
You're making the move to the US?
Well, no, sorry.
I'm just curious. I just want to see where we're going.
No. So our team is almost exclusively in Spain, but we are expanding to the US, I think is a better way to describe it. So we're planning to build our first plant in Europe with the support of EIB and EIC, and also Arkema. But we are planning to move to the US, expand to the US and Brazil shortly thereafter, shall we say.
My biggest company is a green hydrogen electrolyzer company, Ohmium. Our CEO is in Switzerland somewhere. The original headquarters is California. I think there's 17 people there. There's like 250 in India where the plant is. Our customers are all over the world. There's like 2 salesmen in the US and everybody else is in Europe right now. Yeah, and Middle East and then in Asia, right? These businesses are natively global. Yeah, that's what, and you can't forget that. This is not like the old tech sector where your customers are all next to each other. And it's energy, so the geopolitical overlay and the commodity price overlay is really, really significant. So your cost advantage in your product is fundamentally different country by country. Yeah, and depending on where you make it, right? So, and part of the reason our Indian guys aren't selling here much now is because Trump jacked up the tariffs on them. Like, okay, fine, we'll go sell the Middle East and Europe until that changes. Right, so I think there's a lot of opportunity around, and I've got teams working India, Brazil, Europe, Canada, there's a whole bunch of places we have teams in our portfolio working right now, trying to get labor and technology and customers. And then the money just flows.
And that actually is a great segue to Lawson. Lawson, as Georgie said, Greentown Labs is the world's largest climate tech incubator, and you help, and both in Boston and here as head of Houston, companies come and make use of that geographic advantage that we have here, of the variety of resources. So Greentown has really become a key entry point for startups with programs like Greentown Go and the Carbon to Value initiative. How do you think about identifying what those needs are for your portfolio companies and the best way to support them? Because here we have companies that have raised over 100 million euros coming in, but then you also have companies at the seed stage in your portfolio. How do you think about identifying the best way to create value for those companies?
The lover of Houston in me, the guy who's like born and raised here and wants to see Houston be an amazing epicenter for innovation, loves the idea of Houston increasingly being a soft landing for global scaling companies that want to take advantage of our industrial corporate base here. But Greentown, every day now, we are thinking about our next chapter as transitioning from being Greentown the place to Greentown the platform. And Greentown the platform really is more of a systems level approach to catalyzing climate innovation globally. And so it sort of requires us increasingly to set up more physical locations, but then more programmatic and digital infrastructure to interconnect those innovation hubs. And so actually, you introduced me to these guys like on my 5th day of head of Greentown Houston, but it's been a great forcing device to accelerate our thinking on how can we build global innovation pipelines? How can we also think about the unique strengths of our physical hubs, wherever they may be, and lean into those strengths? And then how can we interconnect those innovation communities across the world for a more robust outcome and a more impactful way to accelerate climate innovation? So it's been a fun trend. It's been a fun partnership to kind of accelerate all that thinking, and it's been a great way for Greentown to think about how it can be not just a place, but an innovation platform.
Renz, can't y'all just lease Georgie some of the Amsterdam facility and she can go open one next week? I mean, I know you're not using it all.
We can actually, because
Yeah.
we do have a couple of startups.
Like a third empty.
couple of
Just go
startups
lease
in
a chunk of that and go you have a Greentown up and running in literally 14 weeks and EIC will fund it.
It's actually great. That's actually a great idea.
All right, can somebody up here draw up an MOU? We'll get it signed in the next 10 minutes, and then we'll celebrate the grand opening of Greentown Labs, Netherlands.
I'm not
Can do
kidding,
that with-
Adrian.
with
This is like,
ChatGPT.
seriously, like they've been trying to do something in that facility since when I was there for a decade ago. Be an awesome deal. Greentown needs to expand to Europe.
And no, I think you're definitely welcome. But Lawson, to build on what you said, like I think when you think about Houston specifically or coming to the United States, it's important to consider sort of what the strengths are of each of these places, right? Having spent a lot of time in the Netherlands, in Calgary, in Silicon Valley for most of my ventures career, and then here in Houston, like there's just some specific things that I want to sort of, impart on you when you think about Houston. And one is, if you think about the industrial sort of lab space skill that Houston has, it's really unparalleled. So we have seen a lot of clean tech companies start in Silicon Valley, come to Houston as scale-ups, because sort of the skill it requires to get clean tech solutions out into the market is just not feasible in sort of a California or Boston setting, and Houston has that spot. The next phase to then become a large company tends to also happen here, because the refining capacity in sort of Texas, Louisiana combined is, the majority of where the company sits and probably has the least regulatory burden in order to get it done. So I think that if you're a clean tech company aspiring to be close to your customers, have affordable lab scale facilities, and then have access to the best talent that comes from partly the oil and gas industry, but now also from the clean tech industry, Texas is really the place to be. I think if you're building an AI startup nowadays, probably San Francisco is the best place to be, and Boston if you're in the pharmaceutical space. So I think it's important to think what you're trying to build when you think about Houston and Austin and Texas, because it is a great ecosystem, but it's also specific for certain parts and maybe less suitable for others.
Appreciate that, Rens. And actually, you're here to hear all of these people, but you're also here to hear the pitches of these 14 companies. So I'll actually use that to go to the closing piece. We've got an audience of Houston-based innovators, corporate representatives, investors, and entrepreneurs in front of us. Rens, that was great parting thoughts for all of our attendees here, including the 14 companies. But I'd like to ask each one of you, are there any parting thoughts for how to think about transatlantic partnership, or how to think about where Houston plays in that as well? And we'll just go along the line. Yeah, or whoever wants to go next.
Well, we at Greentown are in this partnership doing exactly what Greentown exists to do, and it's really exciting to continue to think about how we can connect each city's existing strength. Georgie calls them centers of excellence, and how we can leverage the sort of physical density there with the global innovation connectivity.
When I got to Shell in 2013 to help launch the venture fund, it took me about 30 days to realize that our groups didn't talk, right? Because you just get in your own little world. And so I started getting on a plane. I was traveling a week and a half, a month, just go to the Rijswijk and Amsterdam offices just to sit next to people. Because if you don't go invest in building the linkages, they don't happen and they collapse. And you get in us versus them. When I used to do business in Australia, it was the same way. I would see the us versus thems would show up, even in an organization with 30, 40 person organization, and you already had it, right? And to break those down, you have to get on a plane, you have to travel.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would reiterate things that have already been said. There's from the perspective of a European startup, there's some really great companies doing some really great technology in Europe. And since this audience is a lot of folks that are based here, definitely look out for them. Definitely look out for the opportunities, especially if you're interested in deep tech, climate tech. The ecosystem there is really great and has been very supportive of our success. And there's a number of other companies like us. So I would encourage to keep those companies in mind.
Well, with that, or Rens, any parting thoughts?
Well, last part of the sales pitch I'll give you is that, so Houston as a city, I think, is an understated place. It's the most diverse city in the United States. So if you think about cultures, you can find here food. Climate can get hot in the summer, but overall, coming from the northern gray European side, I think you would love the sunshine. So I think it's a place that is a bit of an acquired taste, coming from Amsterdam and moving to Houston. Also having spent a lot of time in San Francisco, but it's definitely a place that...
Did you just call Houston an acquired taste?
It
All right,
is.
fine. Silly question. Where's a Dutch restaurant in Houston?
That's a good question.
Acquired taste. I mean, come on, man.
I'll just say,
better
I like
food here than
Hagelslag.
Amsterdam.
I bet you can get a stroopwafel somewhere. But...
Those little chocolate sprinkles are actually really good. The Hagelslag, highly recommend. And you can also get the biscuits. Here's the stroopwafel, which are great. But then the last plug for Houston is, my last recommendation for those European companies, get yourself a pair of cowboy boots. Seriously, the most comfortable shoe you will ever wear. Here they count as business formal, and it'll make the 3-year-old you think that you're going to school or going to work as a cowboy every day. So like that, if you come to Houston, you get to go to work as a cowboy every day. Anyway, with that, let's give a hand to our panelists. Thank you very much. And on to the company pitches.
Exciting part.
Yes. Clear. Oh, sure. Oh, button.
You're gonna do the intro to our pitching companies? You do it? Yeah? Okay, great. So we start with the pitching. We have an order of events, but Adrian will help us with the transitions and calling the next ones. But I can advance already. Blikala will be the first one. Company pitching. Where are you guys? And it's a company. Okay, you're there. It's a company from Sweden. Just give us a second just to put your deck.
All right, so you're about to see the pitches of 14 growth stage climate tech companies that have flown across the Atlantic to see you. Each of them are going to get 4 minutes to pitch. But one last shout out. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. at Greentown Labs, there's actually the opportunity to sit down for office hours with each and every one of them. So you'll be able to register. There's going to be a link up at the very end of the pitch for you to be able to register. If you're interested in following up, also don't hesitate to follow up with them either tonight or come find them tomorrow at Greentown Labs, 4 p.m. So with that, starting off, Blikala out of Sweden with Fanny.
Thank you. So, hi everyone, I'm Fanny. I'm working closely with the CEO and CFO on strategic topics. And Blikala is a Sweden-based company developing next-generation nuclear. We're in the middle of a global nuclear renaissance. We're seeing the greatest build-out of nuclear power in 70 years all across the globe. But the problem with large-scale nuclear is that it's very costly and it takes a lot of time to build. They are these mega site-specific projects employing 10,000s of people. In contrast, Blikala is developing small modular reactors that can be produced in a factory and transported on a truck. One reactor is 55 megawatts, and we're targeting 6 reactors for our first park, so roughly 300 megawatts. And traditional nuclear is using water as coolant. I'm sorry for the technical problems, but new, more advanced designs are using different types of coolants, which brings additional benefits. And we are using lead as a coolant, and lead has a lot of inherent safety properties, which allows our reactors to be very small, roughly 5 times 5 in diameter. And this allows us to deliver safety in the most compact form. So per megawatt delivered, our design offers the smallest reactor, which make them safer, cheaper, and more timely to build. Yeah. So sorry about this. You'll just have to listen to me instead of looking at the slides. If we're comparing to conventional water cooling, our technology is 40 to 60% cheaper. It takes less than 2 years to build, as opposed to more than 7 years for conventional water cooling. And as our technology is very safe, that enables us to co-locate with data centers and other industrial factories, which is not possible with conventional water cooling. And lastly, our technology is very efficient in the fuel use, so we need less fuel, and the waste that we're generating is less radioactive. And in 2025, we raised 50 million in an extended Series A round, co-led by a key US peer, Oklo, who invested in us to collaborate on technology, supply chain, fuel, and regulation. And our know-how of lead cooling and the European market complements their know-how of sodium cooling and the US market. We are currently working on building an electrical test reactor in Sweden and licensing and design of our first commercial reactor also in Sweden. But we very recently decided to target building a nuclear pilot reactor in the US, given the favorable licensing in the US for such reactors, and also given the partnership with Oklo. And this is why we're targeting a 100 million Series B round in Q2 2026. And this offers a unique opportunity to invest in a leading European lead-cooled player who is targeting market entry into the US. Thank you.
Thank you, Fanny. And with that, I'd like to invite up Jose Col from Catalyx, joining us from Spain. Here's one. Here's two.
Hello, I'm Jose Col, CFO at Catalyx. Catalyx develops next-generation chemicals, replacing fossil-based products with bio-based, low-carbon alternatives that are cost-competitive and fully compatible with the existing petrochemical infrastructure. Today, more than 95% of the chemicals industry feedstocks come from fossil fuels, making it one of the hardest sectors to decarbonize. However, current alternatives are either too expensive or fail to scale. Catalyx has developed a catalytic technology protected by 65 patents that converts ethanol, an abundant, renewable, and globally available feedstock, into drop-in intermediate chemicals, butanol, hexanol, and a mix of higher chain alcohols. These alcohols represent a $15 billion market, widely used across paints, coatings, adhesives, cosmetics, flavors, and fragrances. Our process is cost competitive. We can be cheaper than the petrochemical equivalents. It's sustainable with a negative carbon footprint, and is fully proven at demo scale. In addition to it, our products and process have been validated by Arkema, the largest buyer of butanol in the world. We invested 35 million euros and more than 10 years of development to take this technology from lab to demo scale. Now, we are on an advanced development of our first commercial facility in Europe, supported by the EAC and the European Investment Bank, and construction is expected in 2026. In parallel, we are already developing our project pipeline in the US and Brazil. Our business model combines direct production of chemicals in key markets and technology licensing in others. On the production side, for our first commercial facility, 30,000 tons facility, we have already signed a global offtake with Arkema that is willing to buy up to 100% of our production. Our second plant, a large-scale 100,000 tons capacity here in Texas, leveraging access to low-cost US corn ethanol. This project is also backed by Arkema and an additional major chemical producer. Our third project is in Brazil, 30,000 tons facility, is also backed by a different chemical producer. On the licensing side, we have already signed our first licensing agreement with an Indian company called Godavari Biorefineries, and it's generating $2.5 million per year. With all of that, Catalyx is positioned for exponential growth, with expected revenues exceeding $400 million by 2030. Our initial market is the chemical market, but this is just the beginning. The same catalytic pathway opens access to the biofuels and sustainable aviation fuels markets, massive global industries. In other words, Catalyx has the potential to evolve from green chemicals to green fuels, all with the same scalable technology platform. So far, we have built a team of 40 people, and our management combines over 80 years of experience in chemicals, biofuels, project development, and project finance. Now, we want to raise $50 million to accelerate in our Series B, to accelerate our industrial deployment. This funding will be used to partially finance our first commercial plant in Europe, to finance the development of our plant here in the US and in Brazil, and to finance our ongoing R&D activities. This is an opportunity to invest in a proven, cost-competitive, and scalable technology, supported by world-class industrial companies, by the European institutions, as we move from demo to full commercial scale. Thank you very much.
Gracias, gracias, Jose. And with that, Marco Bersani, buonasera for circular materials.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Marco Bersani. I'm the CEO and founder of Circular Materials. And what we do at Circular is that we recover critical and strategic metals from industrial wastewaters coming from a variety of manufacturing processes. And this is a very global problem. Manufacturing companies waste and throw away significant levels of critical and strategic metals because of intrinsic manufacturing inefficiencies. And why this is a problem? Well, because forget the green transition without critical metals. The green transition is based on the availability of sustainable and reliable supply chains of critical and strategic metals. There's no power and transmission components, there's no catalyst, there's no lithium-ion batteries without critical metals. And the second point is that the supply chain for these metals is not stable, is not under Western world control, and that poses a strategic problem. And the US Congress today gave me a nice assist because today they passed the National Defense Authorization Act. And starting in 2027, the Department of Defense won't be able to purchase batteries that are not made with metals coming from selected countries. And there you see the problem that we come into play. We can source critical and strategic resources from locally recovered metals catering to selected industries. And that's another value beyond just plain recovering critical and strategic metals. And the third aspect is the sustainability. Extracting, processing, transporting metals across the world has a gigantic carbon footprint. Why throw away something that you can recover and produce locally? And the reason why that happens is because it's difficult. These wastewater streams are hard to abate, hard to recover, and that's why all these metals go from the manufacturing plant to the landfill, or worse, to surface bodies of water. And we developed a technology that enables us to directly recover a metal-agnostic technology, physical-based process, thermal process, continuous flow. We get the tanker in our recovery site, we process the wastewater, we get a nice metal powder out and metalless water, and that metal is ready to be sold as a fine chemical. Any chance that will come back? Just one nice picture to show, then I can handle the rest. But well, okay, let's move on to the next topic. So while we wait the picture to load, while we're looking to, we have a robust EU development map. We're a strategic project under the EU Critical Raw Material Act that grants us funding, speedy authorization, and on and on. While we're looking to move to the US, because it's a fourfold larger market for what we do than the European market. And that's why it's absolutely critical for us to address our US development plan. And to do this, we're looking for the ideal starting site. So an area with heavy manufacturing operations in different sectors where there's a lot of companies producing the waste that we're after. And the second part, we're looking at incentives. The critical raw material sector is heavily incentivized, and that's something that we're heavily exploiting in Europe, and our plan is also to exploit it in the United States soil. And that's why we're looking also for a local investor that will support us into deploying in the United States. And the budget to start up our US operations is around 50 million, and that's one of the things that we're looking after in the United States. Never mind, thank you, and it's my pleasure.
Let's give the IT group a quick moment to see if we can get that back. But in the meanwhile, we can already invite the next speaker up as everything gets fixed. And I will invite from France, bonsoir to Jérôme for Dracula Technologies. Yeah, we'll. Marco is Belgian? That's not very nice to the Belgians. That's the picture. Here is the picture for Marco.
Let me fix it.
Here.
Okay. Thank you, guys. So that's what we do in a nutshell, okay? The green stuff is nickel-loaded wastewater coming from a lot of processes. The very same nickel stuff you got from semicon, electronics, oil and gas manufacturing. There's a lot of process generate that, and that's considered a nightmare by the wastewater treatment industry. One pass through of a process, you get the brown powder in clean water, you filter it, and that's the nickel powder you recover, and that we sell. So, and that works for nickel, copper, tin, chromium, titanium, precious metals, whatever. Same process, you get all the same stuff. Thank you.
Good evening. So I'm Jérôme Vernet with Dracula Technology. We are a French deep tech startup, and we develop a unique way to generate energy from ambient light by manufacturing OPV, stand for organic photovoltaic, by inkjet printing. Why? To power any kind of low power electronics, such as IoT, sensors, and so on, that are currently powered with traditional batteries, AA, AAA, console batteries. The interest is to find a solution, a sustainable solution to replace traditional disposal battery. Battery is not viable when you are considering mass market and mass production. Who want to replace battery if you have spread around the world, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of these? Doesn't make any sense. After you have the TCO, if you have to replace the battery, it's not only the matter of the cost of the battery itself, but the human needed to do the job. Also, one big limitation, regulation. If you want to ship overseas some products with batteries inside, you have to, let's say, go through a nightmare of administration paperwork to put the battery in a way, to put the product in the other way. Lately, quite important for us at Dracula, the sustainability. This is not sustainable to go with millions of batteries thrown away around the world for years and for even decades. So our solution at Dracula Technology is to use energy harvesting. Energy harvesting to power IoTs. When you speak about energy harvesting, it's a matter of different way to collect existing energy to convert it into electricity. It could be done with light, which is the most obvious, which is the one which everybody know, and we know where we can get light or not, compared to other technologies such as RF, also vibration, or a Peltier effect with temperature. So the main, let's say, specific uniqueness of Dracula Technology is we are developing a free shape form factor OPV made by inkjet printing. We can make any kind of shape. We can customize the product itself. We can customize in terms of electric features and in terms of customize the shape and the form factor. It's harvested at low light. That's why the name of Dracula. Low light means about 5 lux. 50 lux is about the light given by the exit sign, the green light. In the dark at 1 meter is about 50 lux. And as low as 50 lux, we're able to generate energy. It's a long lifespan compared to traditional battery, 8 to 10 years for indoor use, indoor application. We are now at scale. And something very important, if it's related to the product itself, it's only made with organic-based and carbon-based product, fully recyclable at the end of the life of the product. So production scale, and of course, it needs to be cost-effective. If not, it doesn't make any sense, and there's no chance for us to succeed. So here, with Dracula, the main application that we are covering so far are the smart building automation, which is one of the most famous, known, and used for many years, how to replace batteries. You also have some consumer and, let's say, retail application. But the biggest heavy trend we see now for the past, let's say, 12 to 18 months is about smart asset tracking and smart labels. Everybody wants data. The thing with data, it's important to get it every time. And with the solution of energy harvesting, we can make sure that your product will be always powered, and that's key. No. Yes. 20 million revenue is what we have in the pipeline right now. We already invested about 29 patents with a very strong IP, which is key for us. And we are now ready for the 2.0 OPV manufacturing. We have a production plant in France looking for opportunities and developing. And that's the reason why we are here today. First, to find, let's say, partners and customers, to present the cutting-edge technology, and of course, to find a big brother for mass production. If we go by our way alone, French, lonely French people, it will not be able to make it. So we need all the support here to make it happen. The big brother could be American, likely, because the market is there also. And so that's why we're here. Thanks a lot.
Merci, Jérôme. And calling up Paolo Cavallini with Energy Dome.
Thank you. All right. I'm honored to be here and happy to be in the US because as Italian company for us it's extremely important to be in the US. Effectively, the world of energy is changing. We are going through a revolution, and in the US, this is happening much faster than in Europe. Here there are hyperscalers. Here there is the grid with certain characteristics that make us the best solution to provide additional capacity for hyperscalers and where additional capacity is needed. What we do long duration energy storage with our system that is called CO2 battery, which is a system that uses CO2 as working fluid. Sorry, this is not exactly the presentation I was expecting, but I can use this one. We use CO2 as working fluid in a thermomechanical system. We run a compressor when there is abundant energy, and we store heat and we store the CO2 in a liquid form. When there is need for electricity for 8, 10, 24 hours, we just take the CO2, we heat it up with a heat previously stored during the charging phase, and we go through a turbine, we expand, and we provide the electricity to the grid or to the hyperscaler, to the data center. We are effectively using CO2 as an advantage because it makes our system very efficient because we reach 75% round trip efficiency, and it makes it extremely cheap because we are much more competitive than lithium ion, and effectively in terms of LCOE, we are competitive with gas. We have different sizes, but the most important thing is that we have a plant already in operation in Italy. It's 20 megawatt, a 10-hour duration plant dispatched by Engie, and we have a partnership with Google, with whom we have a plant under construction in Ireland and multiple projects in the United States, where we have a partnership also with Alliant Energy with a project in Wisconsin. The system is already made in US because it uses off-the-shelf components, but for us, strategically, it's important to build the right ecosystem here in the US and also make sure we will be able to manufacture here. That's why Houston is potentially a nice place to be. Google has invested in our company as well, together with many other interesting investors. And we are looking to open our Series C beginning next year to raise additional 200 million. So far, we raised 150, and in 5 years, we have been able to completely de-risk the technology. Now we're fully commercial, and we need to start manufacturing, but especially we need to start to deploy the gigawatt of pipeline we have in our portfolio. Thank you.
And calling up Andre Godinho Luz from Portugal with Infinite Foundry. Thought he was flying across the Atlantic still.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrea Luz. I'm the co-founder of Infinite Foundry. We are a software company focused on deploying a physical AI system to advance control of industrial operations. So our company has been established in 2017. Besides our headquarters in Portugal, we also have 2 physical subsidiaries in Brazil, and that's hence why we are here in this event to move a bit north. Traditionally, when we talk about industrial control, we talk about manually designing and programming each machine. This is a very inefficient process for many reasons, but the main reason it's because we humans tend not to have the most optimum way of programming. And that means that at the end of the day, the line is going to be a bit slow, is going to waste a bit more energy, and they're going to waste a bit more resources. Our technology, pretty much what it does, it's merges the data from the production line with the 3D model to obtain its digital twin. So it's a digital replica in real time of the operation, and then uses physics to continuously develop the control system of the machine. So the machine is automatically controlled by the software and does not have any human in the loop. The advantage of having a system like this is that even if there is an issue, we can identify the root cause of the issue and then rebalance everything else in the production line. So our system understands why, how any resource is used, understands why there is any deviation, and automatically corrects that deviation. But the best and the premium feature that we have is that every time that we need to introduce something new to the production line, a new material, a new component, a new production mix, we can ask our system how we can do this, and the system will tell us how to do, and will deploy the new control system to the production line. So why we use physics? It's because when we have a new opportunity, a new system, we need to physically understand how the production is going to be made with that new component. So what makes us unique is that we use this real-time physics-based AI system. It is GPU accelerated, and we can, at the end of the process, obtain the digital twin of the product. That is basically a small version of our software that is embedded in the product, and that basically tracks the product during its entire service lifetime. And at the end of the service lifetime, we know which components can be used in remanufacturing, so we can reuse those components back to the production line. This basically means that we have really high impact on our customers. We can reduce the energy used on the production by around 30%, exactly because we optimize every millimeter of the production line. We can be 50% faster in reorganizing the production line to changes, and we can recover up to 70% of product components. Why we are here in Texas is because we are seeing a renaissance in manufacturing in the US. Texas is having its big positioning in this sector, and we think that our technology can provide a more modern way of manufacturing, and this manufacturing can be competitive in the world scale using our technology. Thank you very much.
Obrigado. And with that, Lawrence from the Netherlands for sustainable. There we go.
Thank you. Over there. Okay, thanks. Is it working? Oh, lava. Oh, okay. I can do the lava pitch.
Hi. Sorry about that.
Not the right one, but never mind. Okay. I will do it without it. So lava, it's actually what we are doing. I will tell you today the story. My name is Doron, I'm the CEO, and we are from Israel. And lava, actually today I will tell the story about the red line and the blue line. And the red line is isentropic expansion. Isentropic expansion is actually responsible for all or most of the energy that we are using. It's generation, steam turbine or sea turbine. It's heating, it's cooling, the air conditioning. So actually most of the energy, also your car engine. But the problem with isentropic expansion, which means that when the gas is expanding, it's moving the piston, it's moving the blades of the turbine, that this is the most inefficient way to have power. but this is the only way. What we succeed to do in lava is to move from the red line to the blue line, which means thermodynamics, a new thermodynamic cycle, okay? Which means that what we can do when in our case, when the gas is expanding, it's not cooling down, which means that we have much better efficiency. Okay, so now actually what we can do in lava, we can change all the energy market. Okay, so what we can do, for example, if today we have 4,000 gigawatt of steam turbine worldwide, from the same source of heat, we know to generate 5,200. The delta, which is 1,200, it's double the US consumption for electricity. And we can do it almost for free. Okay, but it's not just generation. We can do also cooling. And in cooling, what we can do, for example, it's cooling of data center. The COP of our heat pump, it's between 30 to 50% from the best heat pump for cooling of Schneider Electric. Schneider Electric is the biggest cooling company in the world, okay? And our next year, we are going to have pilot probably with Schneider. But if we will take the heat pump and the heat engine and we'll combine them together, this is a Carnot battery. And the Carnot battery, it's long duration storage, a competition for Paolo, yeah? And what we can do about our Carnot battery is that because on the same CapEx we have heat engine, so when our storage is empty, we can be our own picker. Okay, so we are only systems that can be a picker and storage on the same CapEx. Our partner in the US is Watershed GEO. It's a subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway. And together with them next year, end of next year, we're going to have a pilot with TVA. We're going to build in one of the power stations of TVA long duration storage. Okay, and what's so unique is that we can actually supply for data center 70% of the time electricity from solar and 30% of the time electricity from natural gas on the same system. And also what's unique about our system is that all the materials we can produce in the US. We don't need any rare materials. Okay, so I just told you about Watershed, our partner, but the sister company of Watershed is Watershed Generation, and they are the lead of the round. Last week, we just had the closing of our initial round. We raised till now 42 million. We are going to raise, we are looking to raise another 10 million. And actually, this is lava. So I will be happy to speak with you. And this is our isothermal thermodynamic cycle. Thank you very much.
Now, Lawrence.
Weird. Then my list, okay, I got a different list then. All right.
All right, good evening. I'm Giuseppe. I'm a deep tech company out of Italy. I guarantee it's the third one and the last one from Italy. So that's one. Okay. First of all, let me say that at some point after we incorporated the company, we didn't even have the production facility yet. But since then, a couple of very famous Formula One team decided to adopt our material. Some time has passed, and now we supply 9 of 10. In private, I can tell you which is the one that we do not supply. Why is that? Of course, composite material, they are made of a reinforcement and resins and a matrix. Our formulation lies in the matrix. And composites solve a very important problem, which is the reduction of weight. We do a little bit more than that. So despite the critiques is that it's just incremental, the material thing, we do something disruptive. One of our flagship product, the one that is used in Formula One, can actually withstand very high temperature, very incredible properties from the thermal point of view. This is an example. There is a range of temperature, which is between 400 and 600 degrees, where no composite work. This is the place where we work, and we work even better than ceramics, that of course are brittle, fragile, and so they don't do the job. This is exactly the clear example where we can substitute metal and reduce weight, such as titanium. We recently produced a firewall for a famous helicopter company, and we managed to get 50% lower weight at 40% lower price, which is kind of amazing. On top of that, titanium is also difficult to source, and in this case, it's not. Now, I think that, okay, but it's not just that. Among the many properties that we have, with this product is also much more recyclable. Much more recyclable means that when used, for example, with glass fiber, it can be recovered at the end of life. So using it in interior of helicopters, aircrafts, and so on and so forth. Now, someone is boycotting Italy at this. Anyway, we moved, of course, we have traction. We are EBITDA positive. We moved away from those iconic clients into very important one. I mentioned the helicopter, the aviation, of course, defense is another interesting thing. And probably the killer application is about battery pack, because of course, this material can be used as a battery and currently is going to be adopted, actually certified by EASA for that matter. Now, the market is big. I mean, needless to say, that is like in the region of billions. This is not the expectation. This is just what the pipeline that we have, it's going to be in the next 3 years. So it's weighted for the probability to happen. But again, this is exactly why the disruptiveness of our material. Taking what Neil said before, we are moving international. We are moving to India, where after 6 months that we were there, that they became one of our best customer, and we are moving facility and planning to move to the United States, and Texas is probably one of those. Of course, I usually say that vision without execution is hallucination. So in order not to hallucinate, we have a very important team, that is very cross-functional, and we are raising capital to do the things that we are doing. We are currently looking for a 12 million Series A. Some of that is already backed by the EIC that supported us. And of course, the deployment is going to be CapEx, R&D, and international expansion. Thank you so much. And I'm here in case you want to speak with me. Thank you.
Shunxinlu Nobula out of Sweden.
Thank you for having me here. My name is Chunxin Liu. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Nobula. And Nobula is a Swedish company focused on building the future of glass fabrication. Well, glass is a traditional material, and it's also not easy to deal with material. Conventional glass factories building, a low-value glass part like bottles and the windows. For high-value glass parts like optic and the photonics, or microfluidics, usually those glass parts were built through a clean room process that require multiple process and then a lot of investment, a very long lead time. It's simply not scalable. Well, Nobula's solution is to make glass fabrication a programmable process. A process that employed a technology that called direct glass laser deposition, DGLD technology. It combined high-resolution laser processing and the glass fiber technology. Using DGLD, we'll be able to unlock possibilities to address optics and photonic application, glass sensor, glass art, and beyond. And using this technology, we also build a system that has no need for clean room, no post-process is needed, no size limitation. We're building a computer vision system to ensure the printing process has a quality control of the real time, and the entire process is programmable. So this is also how we see the future of glass fabrication. And we filed 21 patents to protect it in 7 countries and areas. Together with our beta tester, we launched our global beta program in 2025. That means from now, we're sharing our technology with our beta partner to explore application together. Now we already have beta tester from Sweden, Singapore, Germany, USA, and we're quickly expanding this group so that we can address the application together with our partners. And we're building a business pipeline of more than 200 leads. And together with our test beta partner and our customer, we're addressing applications in optics, in microfluidics, glass implant, glass mechanics, glass packaging, and very importantly, we have very good, we have internal focus on photonic application. We aim to build a system that will enable photonic interconnect in co-packaged optics for data center. That we're printing the photonic wire bond in glass to replace the current solution, which is mostly polymer-based. And this will enable them, this will maximize the data efficiency that transferred from the photonic integrated circuit into a single mode fiber and provide the maximum thermal stability of this solution. Nobel is on a roadmap to be a global impact. By 2030, we're expecting to be the obvious choice when people come to high-end, high-resolution glass fabrication. Coming to Texas, we're looking for the beta tester, the R&D partner with the top university and the research institute. Combining those capabilities with our technology, we're also bringing this glass solution to the industrial giant company in Texas as well. So we're coming to Texas to complete the value chain for Nobula. Meanwhile, we're also raising 10 million to scale our business globally. Thank you.
And then Frederick, by way of Norway, with Ocean Visuals.
So is there a laser here? Yeah, here you go. Oh, that worked. Good afternoon, evening. I'm all the way from the Woodlands, but the company is Norwegian, so I didn't go very far, but it's nice being here. Ocean Visuals, we have a laser that we detect oil pollution with. We have locations in Oslo, Tallinn, Estonia, and I'm here in Houston. We have a team of 10 people. We have everything patented. The problem is operational discharges from ships, accidents involving vessels. I mean, Exxon Valdez is one, and the oil goes under the water, and you need to find that. Offshore oil and gas operations, we have pilots with Petrobras in Brazil, and we're working with clients in Norway. Onshore sources reaching the ocean, etc. So we have a laser that, I just jump here a little bit. We shoot a laser down in the water. The oil will reflect the energy, and you use a hyperspectral camera to kind of catch that. And you can actually, the oil has a DNA, so to speak, or a fingerprint. So if you are an oil company and you find oil around your installation, you can say this is my oil or it's somebody else's oil. So you can say it's my problem or somebody else's problem. And if it's somebody else's problem, you can just ignore it. We know that Petrobras has that problem. There's a lot of operational discharges in those waters. Probably less in the US, because here you go to jail for a long time if you do it. This really, the cruise industry figured that out. So we have a system for ships, we have ship system for aircrafts, drones, and we have a map system. And we're also thinking about how we can deploy this on the water to look for seeps and in connection with seismic operations. Yeah, oil spill market is large. There's a lot of oil spill here in the US. There was recently a conference in New Orleans I attended. Energy companies are potential clients, ports, harbors, and the governments. Yeah, mentioned Petrobras, Ocean Pact, Port of Oslo. We have a oil major in North Sea coming in. They confirmed last week. So what we're looking for is $4 million. EU Investment Bank will come up with the same. We are looking for clients, and we are looking for industrial partners. Thank you for your attention.
Up next, Reblade. We have Frank Kirstein.
Howdy, everyone. I'm Frank, CEO and co-founder of Reblade, where we are entering the huge and lucrative market of wind energy, a market that is ripe for automating the manual maintenance. In the photo behind me, you are seeing how the repairs are done manually for the last 50 years, since the 1970s. A highly specialized team of service technicians going up and hoisting themselves down in ropes and doing this slowly over 4 to 5 days. They're in demand. They need to be there for the upkeep of wind energy. But the problem is you can't get enough of them. The specialization requirements means that it just gets worse and worse as the blades, they wear down. Now, not everybody knows that, but for each rotation of the wind turbine blades, they wear down, just like the tires on your car for each rotation on the road. This is why maintenance is the biggest cost category in the lifetime of wind turbines. So you have to do something about it, and that's what we do. We are introducing a technological solution, an automated solution that takes away the requirement for specialists to do the work. You do not need to know how to repair a wind turbine blade or what it is. We do it much faster with this technology, and we reduce the downtime by more than 90%. Oh, sorry. On top of that, we're quite cost effective, and we can do it at 40% the price of our closest tech competitor. And as I mentioned before, we are quite fast. And we're also nimble compared to these, I think it's fair to call them clunky solutions of our competitors. We are a B2B tech as a service business model, which means that we do not sell the drones. We sort of lease them out on a per use fee that they pay for each blade. And the beauty of it is that the price makes it so that we charge $75,000 as a minimum per month, which equals the bill of materials. So for a hardware company, we make our money back in just 4 weeks, which is quite nice. We are a 20 full-time employee engineering company, and more than 70% of our industry experts and specialized engineers have been recruited from all over the world as a born global company, startup, and then relocated to Denmark. We are based in the hub of wind innovation. And because we're in that ecosystem, we have been able to contact the best of the best, the domain experts, the OEMs, the energy companies, and test out our technology and prove what we can do. And we have surpassed the previously market leader, who has attracted $100 million US over the last 24 months, and done better on just 8 million. We are expanding from wind. We're not leaving wind. We're expanding from wind with this modular platform where the tools can be replaced to do the work, so that we can grow from wind into energy in general and into infrastructure, become an E&I company, thereby expanding our current niche market of 11 billion to more than 200 billion. We are currently doing and closing a round of 3.5 million US. We have the lead investor in place. So we are looking for a co-lead or a co-investor. And because the technology is a bit erratic today, instead of including video, you can scan. There's no sound, so you don't disturb anyone. And I would suggest the one on the right, the 30-second demo, at least see the first 10 seconds. You can see our drone landing and doing its thing on a blade. Thank you, everyone.
JP Mai with Solar Materials out of Germany.
Point this to the left.
Yes.
Thank you. So welcome, I'm JP co-founder and CEO of Solar Materials, and we mine silver, silicon, and other metals from solar panel waste. Actually, solar panel waste in terms of numbers would represent the world's largest silver mine, with 1.6 billion ounces of silver. And that's double the size of the world's largest silver mine currently in Mexico with 800 million ounces. So that's exactly the potential we are tapping: silver, silicon, copper, aluminum, and glass that's inside the solar panel. So the business model, what we have is quite simple. We do not take anything from our customers. We sell the raw materials back to them. So this is how we secure the supply from EPCs, O&Ms, asset owners, to make recycling, in this case, low cost or cost-free, so that we can secure the supply for our production. We operate a 14,000-ton recycling plant in northern Germany. 14,000 tons is roughly 750,000 panels or 200 megawatt. Give you a comparison, Texas has installed 35,000 megawatts of solar already, and we are treating 200 megawatts per year with the site we have, just to give you an idea on the scale we are talking. We started in 2021 with just pen and paper, and then ramped up the whole technical team and production to around 50, 60 people now, operating 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And everything what we do is based on a patented tech, which we have developed and custom built, and the machinery with partners. And we use the data in order to adapt for the different technologies and solar panel sizes out in the market, because there are 160,000 different panels, and we have to adapt the tech then to work with everything on that. So how do we outsmart the competition? By being more cost effective. So by recovering silver and silicon, we make 40% higher revenues with an all mechanical process. So that means low cost with a 30% net margin in the end. And that means that we are right now the only company commercially extracting silver and silicon from solar panel waste. And this is exactly the USP we have, so that we can work with these extra revenues. And we are getting material from all over the world to do the last processing step at our plant in northern Germany. So this is an actual picture of the storage site we have, because the first order we got was in 2024, which was like 300,000 panels from just one solar park. And that meant we had to put 300 trucks instantly somewhere, which was a real pain for a young startup company. It's around 5,000 square meters. So we had to really deal with that. But as the customer demands, we delivered. So we are looking at the other markets because it's a global issue. And the US is among the top 5 countries for the next decades when it comes to solar panel waste. And the reasons why we get the waste earlier than expected are, for example, extreme weather events, storm, floods, hail, anything like that. That means you have to replace a park much earlier than you would like to. So we said we are en route to IPO in 2029 because that gives us a lot of guidance. We are raising now or closing the Series B round of 30 million at the end of this year, then raising 70 million to expand operations. Right now we operate those plants. We are going to shift that into an operator model for further expansion. And if you would like to join our round, I give you 10 days to decide, because we have set the notary date for signing on next Friday. But if there's a good reason to postpone, happy to do so. Nevertheless, from an operational point of view, we would like to go live in 2027. So taking the next year to find a location, and I think it's Houston, given the size of solar here. So happy to connect with you here in person or online. Thanks a lot.
Here you go, Lorenz with Sustainable.
Right. Thank you. First, so I'm Lorenz van Graveland, CEO, founder of Sustainable, and I'm from the Netherlands. First, I'd like to comment on the Dutch food. It's not the best in the world, so I only found one restaurant actually that serves Dutch food in Amsterdam. I lived there for 17 years, so that's probably the reason why there's no Dutch restaurant here in Houston. Anyway, so Sustainable is a sustainable and recyclable decorative surface material. It's made of post-consumer recycled PET. recycled glass, and also some natural stone minerals. And it's made into a hard surface material used for countertops, for wall panels. We use around 100 bottles for every 10 square feet. And yeah, it's a really growing market, sustainable building materials. As you can see, the governments are putting policies in place, some regulations. Also, architects, designers are more and more using LEED systems to prove their sustainable designs. And large corporations like IKEA and Nike are putting an emphasis on the circular economy. You can see some examples. So it's a great alternative for traditional materials like ceramics or solid surface engineered stone. This is Lisbon Airport installed our material in one of their passenger terminals. Here's an example of IKEA that used it in their restroom renovations. And ING headquarters in Amsterdam will use it for countertop renovations next year. We already used more than 3 million plastic bottles, which we're very proud of. And we focus on three main segments. The first one is the wall panels for interior use, where the large panels are a big advantage, the lightweight, the easy customizableness of our material. Second, commercial countertops in offices. And third, bathrooms, mainly vanity tops. So our material is the most sustainable of all the hard surface materials. We compete with ceramics, engineered stone, solid surface. And it also can compete very well, we believe, on the product aspects of it. Goes a little bit too fast. Anyway, yeah. So we have proof of use. We have more than 100 projects installed. And we have also quite some traction in terms of architects, designers that requesting samples and want to use our material in the future. And yeah, we're very proud of that. Also, we have quite some patents. We have a couple of patents, and actually we were a spin-off out of Shell previously. So it's related to the oil industry. I believe we're based in the Netherlands as headquarters. Our production is in Czechia. And yeah, the focus is on the three target segments. But what we really want to accomplish is to find a good partner that can help us to scale up the distribution and the sales. And for that, to do that, we are looking for around 30 to 35 million to scale up to a second production line. The US is a great market for that because it's the biggest market for the decorative surfaces. And yeah, hoping to meet people that fit that profile. Thank you.
Dankjewel, Lawrence. And last but not least, from Switzerland, Bular Bupinder with Swiss Vault.
Thank you very much. Thank you to European Innovation Council for this wonderful opportunity. Thanks to PwC, of course, and of course, Greentown Labs for an amazing opportunity to come and present. And thank you for staying awake. So what Swiss Vault does is we are managing your most precious asset. This is data. And we enable you to do so for 100 years. And so it's a great time to be in this sector because data is growing year on year. And so profits are being made left, right, and center. And the problem that we solve is that we reduce the energy consumption, we reduce the electronic waste, and we simplify the way data is managed by reducing the complexity. So everybody can manage sort of their own private cloud. And so we do it with two technologies that we built in-house, that we own, and we patented ourselves. One is the file system. The file system basically reduces the data storage volumes and also automates all the data management tasks. And we also built a hardware system that further reduces the energy consumption and space limitations as well. For the hardware, we won the IEEE Most Sustainable Product last year. And for the software, we won the Best High Performance Storage Product at Supercompute 2 weeks ago, beating out all the incumbents that I showed on this slide here. Oops, I can't go backwards. So there are a number of products that you can use in software space, but we basically do everything that they do, and we do it a little bit better. You have to come and talk to me. We have a number of products, customers that are in the pipeline, especially we're working with the OEMs like Western Digital, Seagate, and Toshiba. because we have built a software that's future-proof, basically. We can use any media that you want, any volume of media. And it turns out that all the OEMs have built a new software storage technology called shingled magnetic recording drives. And our software enables them to go to a wider market. And this is a big growth market for us. So we charge $1 per terabyte per month. AWS charges $23 per terabyte per month. And you can see already the profit margins that you can make. We're a team that has more than 20 years experience in data storage and also large data volumes management. But we're raising now a 10 million to scale into commercial growth. We already have a lead investor that's giving us 3 million. We're looking for another 7 million to be committed in this round. It's mostly for us to go commercial. So I welcome any comments, of course, and look forward to meeting some of you guys at the end. Thank you.
Daryl, sorry about the technical problems, but sometimes it happens, especially when you're talking about European slides in America setup, maybe. So we would like to invite you for a drink now. We're going to close the event, but we have time to have a bit of networking, get connected to our pitching companies here. And I hope you had an interesting session today. Thank you very much for being here and join us for the drinks. Yeah, anything else? Last slide. One more slide. What is that?
So you've seen 14 companies pitch. Yeah. Tomorrow you actually have the opportunity, if the slide comes up, of actually meeting with them again. If there's anybody who spoke to you, who you're interested in connecting with, don't just find them tonight. You have the opportunity of actually coming to Greentown Labs, meeting with them, and having a time to sit down with them. Tomorrow, Greentown Labs, 4 to 6 p.m., office hours, 20 minutes per company? Yeah, 20 minutes per company. So see you here, see you tomorrow, and thanks for coming.
Thank you.